My name is Kristen Bride. I am a survivor parent and social media reform advocate and member of the Bipartisan Council for Responsible Social Media. I am testifying here today to bring a face to the harms occurring every day resulting from the unchecked power of the social media industry. This is my son, Carson Bride, with the beautiful blue eyes, an amazing smile, and great sense of humor, who will be forever 16 years old. As involved parents raising our two sons in Oregon, we thought that we were doing everything right. We waited until Carson was in 8th grade to give him his first cell phone, an old phone with no apps. We talked to our boys about online safety and the importance of never sending anything online that you wouldn't want your name and face next to on a billboard. Carson followed these guidelines. Tragedy still struck our family. It was June 2020. Carson had just gotten his first summer job making pizzas, and after a successful first night of training, he wrote his upcoming work schedule on our kitchen calendar. We expressed how proud we were of him for finding a job during the pandemic. In so many ways, it was a wonderful night, and we were looking forward to summer. The next morning, I woke to the complete shock and horror that Carson had hung himself in our garage while we slept. In the weeks that followed, we learned that Carson had been viciously cyberbullied by his Snapchat friends, his high school classmates who were using the anonymous apps YOLO and LMK on Snapchat to hide their identities. It wasn't until Carson was a freshman in high school that we finally allowed him to have social media, because that was how all the students were making new connections. What we didn't know is apps like YOLO and LMK were using popular social media platforms to promote anonymous messaging to hundreds of millions of teen users. After his death, we discovered that Carson had received nearly 100 negative, harassing, sexually explicit, and humiliating messages, including 40 in just one day. He asked his tormentors to swipe up and identify themselves so they could talk things out in person. No one ever did. The last search on his phone before Carson ended his life was for hacks to find out the identities of his abusers. Anonymous apps like Whisper, Sarhaha, and Yik Yak have a long history of enabling cyberbullying and leading to teen suicides. The critical flaws in these platforms are compounded by the fact that teens do not typically report being cyberbullied. They are too fearful that their phones, to which they are completely addicted, will be taken away, or that they will be labeled a snitch by their friends. YOLO's own policies stated that they would monitor for cyberbullying and reveal the identities of those who do so. I reached out to YOLO on 4 separate occasions in the months following Carson's death, letting them know what happened to my son and asking them to follow their own policies. I was ignored all 4 times. At this point, I decided I needed to fight back. I filed a national class action lawsuit in May 2021 against Snap Inc., YOLO, and LMK. We believe Snap Inc. suspended YOLO and LMK from their platform because of our advocacy. However, our complaint against YOLO and LMK for product liability design defects and fraudulent product misrepresentation was dismissed in the Central District Court of California last month, citing Section 230 immunity. And still, new anonymous apps like NGL and Send It are appearing on social media platforms and charging teens subscription to reveal the messenger or provide useless hints. I speak before you today with tremendous responsibility to represent the many other parents who have lost their children to social media harms. Our numbers continue to grow exponentially, with teen deaths from dangerous online challenges, sextortion, fentanyl-laced drugs, and eating disorders. Let us be clear, these are not coincidences, accidents, or unforeseen consequences. They are the direct result of products designed to hook and monetize America's children. It should not take grieving parents filing lawsuits to hold this industry accountable for their dangerous and addictive product designs. Federal legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSA, which requires social media companies to have a duty of care when designing their products for America's children, is long overdue. We need lawmakers to step up, put politics aside, and finally protect all children online. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Ms. Bride. Ms. Emma Lemke.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Lemke. I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama, but currently I am a sophomore studying political science at Washington University in St. Louis. I am humbled and honored to be here today. I created my first social media account, Instagram, in the 6th grade. To me, as a 12-year-old girl to 12-year-old me, these platforms seemed almost magical. But as I began to spend more time online, I was met with a harsh reality. Social media was not magic. It was an illusion, a product that was predicated on maximizing my attention at the cost of my well-being. As my screen time increased, my mental and physical health suffered. The constant quantification of my worth through likes, comments, and followers heightened my anxiety and deepened my depression. As a young woman, the constant exposure to unrealistic body standards and harmful recommended content led me towards disordered eating and severely damaged my sense of self. But no matter the harm incurred, addictive features like autoplay and the endless scroll pulled me back into the online world where I continued to suffer. And there I remained for over 3 years, mindlessly scrolling for 5 to 6 hours a day. I eventually reached a breaking point in the 9th grade, and I began the long and difficult process of rebuilding my relationship with technology in a healthier way. Senators, my story is not one in isolation. It is a story representative of my generation, Generation Z. As the first digital natives, we have the deepest understanding of the harms of social media through our lived experiences. But it is from those experiences that we can begin to build the most promising solutions. It is only when young people are given a place at the table that effective solutions can emerge and safer online spaces can be created. The power of youth voices is far too great to continue to be ignored. Through LogOff, I have engaged with hundreds of kids across the globe and who have shared their experiences of harm with me. I have listened as young people have told me stories of online harassment, vicious cyberbullying, unwanted direct messages. But most powerfully, I have heard as members of my generation have expressed concern not just for our own well-being, but for younger siblings, for cousins, and for all those to come after us. While our stories may differ, we share the frustration of being portrayed as passive victims of big tech. We are ready to be active agents of change, rebuilding new and safer online spaces for the next generation. 10 years from now, social media will not be what it is today. It will be what members of my generation build it to be. We want to build it differently. We want to build it right. I came here today as the representative for those young changemakers, to be the voice not just of those of my generation who have been harmed or who are currently struggling, but to be a voice for all of those 12-year-old girls yet to come. The genie is out of the bottle, and we will never go back to a time where social media does not exist, nor should we. But make no mistake, unregulated social media is a weapon of mass destruction that continues to jeopardize the safety, privacy, and well-being of all American youth. It's time to act. And I urge you, senators, to take meaningful steps to regulate these companies, not just for our generation and my generation, but with my generation. Integrating youth lived experiences is essential in the regulatory process in getting it